The deadliest school bus crash in Texas in nearly a decade in March sparked outrage among parents in the Hays School District.
Their anger pointed at why dozens of pre-kindergarten students took a field trip on a school bus without seatbelts. The district has since expedited plans to fully outfit the bus fleet with restraints. A joint KVUE Defenders Austin American-Statesman investigation found tens of thousands of students all across Texas still travel to and from school each day with no seatbelts, including many right here in Central Texas.
Here's senior reporter Tony Plohetsky.
Brian and Quita, we spent months analyzing data from both Central Texas school districts and across the state to determine which have installed seatbelts in their bus fleets. And we identified the major hurdle that officials say prevents all Texas school children from buckling up.
That day for me is a day that I will never wish on another family.
Yes, that was your daughter.
Kelvin and Melody Johnson still live with the pain of that morning in September 2015. Their daughter, Mariah, a high school senior in Houston.
She had goals, aspirations, and she was very determined.
Was on her way to school when a car struck her bus, toppling it over an overpass and onto the road below.
I don't wish this on anyone else in the world.
Mariah was one of two students killed that morning.
Each time I hear of an accident, it's just like reliving it, revisiting all over again. So I pray for those parents.
Those parents include everyone who had a child on Hays CISD bus number 1106 when an oncoming concrete truck struck it in March along Texas 21 in Bastrop County. 5-year-old Ulysses Rodriguez Montoya died, and many of the 44 pre-kindergarten passengers were injured. The Johnsons turned their grief to advocacy, asking a local state senator in 2017 for a new law to make Texas school buses safer.
But not requiring children to buckle up on the way to and from school creates an inconsistency in what we teach them in every other vehicle.
The 2017 law requires school districts to install so-called three-point seatbelts, lap and shoulder belts like these, on all buses purchased after 2017. The law grants exemptions if districts declare financial hardship and issue a public statement.
We're not where we need to be because of the loopholes.
The KVUE Defenders and the Austin American-Statesman spent several months analyzing data from 13 Central Texas school districts about whether their bus fleets have seatbelts.
Hello, how are you? Let's go sit down and put our seatbelts on.
Among those districts, Austin ISD was the first in the region to fully install 100% of its buses with seatbelts.
We transport the most precious cargo that you can have.
AISD's transportation director says it began doing so in 2011 through grant money available at the time. The district's buses also have these signs on the door, reminding passengers to buckle up.
It's good to have seatbelts on buses, but we also need the help of our families and our parents and our community to make sure to tell their students, when you're in the bus, put the seatbelts on.
Our analysis of the data from those 13 districts found only 4 local districts have fully outfitted their buses with seatbelts. Along with Austin ISD, they are Lake Travis, Eanes, and Pflugerville. 4 of those school districts, Bastrop, Georgetown, Manor, and Round Rock, have seatbelts on at least 75% of their buses. Another 4 districts, Leander, Hutto, Del Valley, and Hays Consolidated ISDs, have seatbelts on at least 50% of their buses. Of the districts surveyed, Dripping Springs ISD has the lowest proportion of buses with seatbelts, only 39%. Statewide, data from the Texas Education Agency shows that since the 2017 law, 99% of new buses purchased by major urban districts, for example, Dallas, Houston, or Austin, have seatbelts, and 81% of new buses purchased by rural districts, such as Thrall and Granger, had seatbelts. What is not known statewide, however, is the number of buses each Texas school district has kept on the road without seatbelts since the 2017 law. Part of the problem,
limited funding. I mean, it's just that simple.
particularly in smaller communities, is a financial burden, says Randy Willis, executive director of the Texas Association of Rural Schools and former superintendent in Granger. He says unlike more urban districts, rural ones do not have the ability to ask taxpayers as often for bond money for capital expenditures such as buses.
You're sitting there with a $5 million budget and 85% of your money is tied up in teachers and salaries and your so you're running 15% for your entire program. So I can't just go out and buy a new bus.
Today, the Johnsons look at photographs from their daughter's life and wonder what she would be doing today.
There's a hole. There's a void. You still have the questions because of her tenacity, her drive, her ambition.
And they still wonder whether she would have been spared had she been wearing a proper restraint.
Take another look, you know. We send our kids to school every day, and we expect them to come back home the same way, safe, sound, because we love our kids. I know I definitely love mine.
Texas is one of only 9 states nationally with a law requiring seatbelts on school buses. We reviewed what laws are on the books nationally and found that some states, like New York, have required seatbelts on buses for many years. Most are similar to Texas, though, requiring seatbelts on all newly purchased buses after a certain date. For the KVUE Defenders, I'm Tony Plahetsky, KVUE News.